Welcome. A lot of people are worried about the stock market, particularly in light of what happened in 2020 with COVID and the drop of 36% in the S&P 500. So I want to welcome you to my seminar today. Welcome to G.R.I.P.I.T. It's my system, and I call it the anti-shock system. In the next 10 minutes or so, we're going to learn how to create a stress-free environment. There's no sales pitch, so put away your wallets. And at the end of the 10 minutes or so, I'm going to make you an offer. First, I want to introduce myself. My name is Trevor. I'm a financial advisor. I'm a fiduciary and a National Social Security certificate holder. I've been in this business almost ever since I left college for 20 plus years. And after being in the business for that long, you'd think that I would have it all down pat. But I discovered that actually I was doing it the wrong way, and I discovered this the hard way. In fact, in 2007, I started my own business, and in 2008, we had the financial crash. And at that point, I realized that everything that I'd been doing, that my clients had been doing, was wrong. It didn't work. Because if you remember, 2008, the stock market crashed by about 50%. And I had clients and people I was talking to who were devastated. They were having to make very hard decisions. Their 401ks become 201ks. They having to put off retirement. Some had to go back to work. Others were cutting expenses. And the best advice I could give them was to hang in there. The market will come back. But I felt I would just let them down. I'd done a bad job. And so I thought there must be a better way. And I looked and I put together, after a lot of research, a system that I believe works. And the reason for this video is that my clients reached out to me when 2020, the COVID hit and the stock market collapsed. They reached out and said, Trevor, you need to tell more people about your system. So here it is. So let me go back and just kind of establish real quickly why we are here today. And I'm just going to change the ink color to blue because I don't like the red. So when we're working, the big thing about our work is the paycheck. The paycheck actually drives everything that we do. It pays our expenses, it pays for our lifestyle, and it also allows us to save and invest for our retirement. Now, forgive me, I'm not a very good drawer, but you get the picture that we start saving in our nest egg. Here it is, beginning of our 40 to 50 years of retirement, of working, I'm sorry. So we're going to work for 40 to 50 years potentially. And we're going to start saving and investing. And even though the stock market has its ups and downs, it always trends upwards. And our nest egg, hopefully, is a nice, big, fat nest egg that we can use to retire. So let's look at retirement. The big thing about retirement, of course, is there is no paycheck, but we still have these expenses. We still have to live. We want to have our vacations. We want to see the kids, the grandkids. And unfortunately, our expenses do not go down when we retire. So we're no longer saving and investing. In fact, for a lot of people, they are turning on their Social Security and maybe their pensions, if they have a pension. And if that is not enough to pay their expenses, they need to tap their nest egg. And so here we are, this is our nest egg, and now we're going to take money out each year to supplement our income retirement. And we know that that money has got to last our lifetime in retirement. But of course, we don't know how long it's got to last. So we have uncertainty. We have uncertainty. And that's kind of the reason why a lot of people that I talk to have the question they ask themselves is, are we going to be okay? Are we going to be okay? Is our nest egg, will our nest egg last us a lifetime? And of course, no one has a crystal ball. And so what we have is that in retirement, we're focusing on this nest egg. And every advisor is focusing on the nest egg because the nest egg is what is required to fund our lifestyle and pay our expenses. But when we work, it's all about the paycheck. You see the difference? So we work, it's about the paycheck. As long as we have a paycheck, our paychecks get bigger over time. We save and invest, our nest egg gets bigger, we're fine. When we retire, no paycheck, and now it's about the nest egg. So everybody is focused on growing the nest egg to fund their retirement. So in a normal world, we're okay. But unfortunately, the world isn't normal most of the time, and so we have a lot of issues. So let's kind of take a typical example, and I'm going to use the same numbers throughout this short tutorial. And let's take a couple, and their expenses are $6,000 a month, and they have Social Security of $3,500, and they have a pension of $850. So we know that they have a gap. If we deduct, we know we have a gap of about $1,650 a month that they need to find from their nest egg, which is about $20,000 a year. Okay, so remember that, $20,000 a year. And in this case, we have a nest egg, and the nest egg is a nice sum of $500,000. Okay, so our people are going to take out $20,000, which is 4% a year. And you think about it, you take out 4% a year, it's going to last 20, 25 years without much growth at all. So it should be pretty straightforward and easy to achieve. However, what does happen in real life is that we have what's called shock events, also known as Murphy's Law, which is what can go wrong will go wrong. And we have had shock events on a regular basis. We had the dot-com bubble, we had the financial crash in 2008, we had the COVID crash in 2020, and on and on. And there's other shock events as well, which I'm going to talk to you about later. But what happens in a shock event? Let's take we've got our couple, they've got their $500,000, and we know that they need $20,000 to pay for their expenses. If we have a shock event, we have a stock market crash of 20%. Now the math starts to change somewhat. Now, instead of having 500 less 20, we have $480,000 without any growth. Now, unfortunately, our account has gone down by 100,000 and we're taking the $20,000 out, and suddenly we are at $380,000 in our account because the stock market did what it always does. It has a crash. So now what do we need to get back to even? Well, to get back to $500,000, we need positive returns of 32%. Now, what happens if we don't get those kind of returns? Maybe, I'm not even going to say the market's going to go down again, because it doesn't have to go down. It could even just be flat. We just have a year where the market pretty much just hangs around and doesn't do anything. So in year 2, we take another $20,000 out of our account to fund our lifestyle, and now we're down to $360,000. And now, of course, we need a 40% return to get back to our $500,000. And I've seen this happen so many times. And then what happens now is that people start to panic. They've only got $360,000 in their account. They were at 500. Their lifestyle hasn't really changed anything. And suddenly they're now starting to make some very bad decisions. They're taking on more risk than they should, and things start to get worse. So what else is there that could affect us? So I talked about shock events. Now, what is a shock event? A shock event is anything that is unexpected. And often these can be health events. And I have had, unfortunately, friends of mine who they've had medical bills, and they've had to pay $50,000 in medical bills because of, unfortunately, breast cancer and prostate cancer and all kinds of bad things. Unfortunately, that's life. And in addition to maybe a one-off medical bills, then they perhaps have ongoing medical expenses of, say, $1,000 a month for special drugs. And so suddenly we now have a situation where our client has got their $500,000 of their nest egg, and instead of just taking out their $20,000, they're now taking out $50,000 for their medical bills, ongoing expenses of $12,000. And so now if we add this up, we're now taking out $82,000 out of this account. So things are starting, that's not too good. But imagine, and unfortunately this does happen in life, is that things don't happen in isolation. Unfortunately, events tend to compound each other. So imagine if we then had a 20% drop in the market at the very worst time possible. And so now there's another $100,000 that came out of the account simply because the stock market did what the stock market does. And now, of course, we're down to $318,000 in this account because we have had a stock market correction and we've had a medical event that was unforeseen that we had to take care of. And if we get into this unfortunate situation, suddenly we're looking at a 58% return plus or minus to get back to our $500,000. And the reason these numbers, they look horrific, and unfortunately, I've seen them so many times that that's the reality. And this is why I invented the anti-shock system, because what I want is my clients to be happy, and I want you to be happy, and you can create a plan that doesn't have to look like this. We can take the uncertainty out. So I call it the G.R.I.P.I.T system. I believe it's a new way, it's a better way, and it's a 4-step process. I'm going to share it with you now. And it's very simple, very, very simple and straightforward. So the first thing that you need to do is, as we've done in this example, we need to find out what our needs and our wants are. These are our expenses. This is our lifetime. These are our lifestyle expenses. And in this case, it's our $6,000 a month. Step 2 is to find your guaranteed income gap. This is find your gig. So you've got to look around, look at all the sources of guaranteed income, something that's going to hit your account irrespective of whatever happens in the market or anything else. So it's not income from jobs or anything like that. And so typically it's your Social Security and it's pensions. So we know that in this example that we had a total of $43.50. So we know that our gap, very simple, subtract one from the other, and we had our $16.50 a month, which was $20,000 a year. So you already know those numbers. What's our next step? Well, it's very simple. We're going to fill the gap. We're going to fill the gap with guaranteed income. So how do we do that? So we have to take our nest egg, and then we have to take a sliver, as little as possible, of this nest egg. We have to take a piece off, and we're going to put this into a vehicle that is going to give us guaranteed income. Can't spell it, for life. What is that vehicle called? It's called an annuity. Now, annuities, there are good ones, there are bad ones, and there's a lot of information about annuities. And the key thing we have to remember, and the reason we use annuities, is that we're not using them as an investment. We're using them to give income. They are the only thing out there, outside of Social Security and a pension, that will give you guaranteed income for life. So we're going to take a slither, as little as possible, from our $500,000, and we're going to create our $1,650 a month, added to our other sources of income that we know that we have. So we now have $6,000 of guaranteed income coming from the various sources, which pay our expenses. So we have balanced the books. Our income and expenses match. So what's the next step? Well, obviously, we now need to rebuild our nest egg because we took a slither. Now, this slither could be 50,000, 100,000, it could be more. It could be 150,000. I don't know. Everyone is going to be different. But let's say, in this case, I've taken $150,000 and put that into the annuity. We now have $350,000 left. The good news now is that because we have our income side of the equation taken care of, we know that we're going to get $6,000 of income to pay our expenses every month, regardless of what happens in the stock market. We now don't have to worry about being conservative, about being cautious. We don't need to hold back our need and desire for growth. We can go, if we want to, we can go 100% equities. And let's say we did. Let's say we're going to go for maximum growth. And let's say I get you an 8% return, or you get an 8% return. In 5 years, you will have back in your account over $500,000. And in 10 years, you'll have over $700,000, $750,000 in your account after 10 years. And that's because we've separated our investments from our income. We carved out the piece, we took the sacrifice that we were going to take money out of our nest egg to give us the guaranteed income we needed, which allows us to invest, and we can be as aggressive as you want to be. But let's say an 8% return, even if the market goes up and down, if we can average an 8% return over a 5-10 year period, 5 years, we get your money back whole. 10 years, we're now got $750,000 to hedge against inflation. We can take care of any more unexpected bills. We can leave a legacy for the kids, and we're in really fine shape because we've just changed our focus from trying to nurture the nest egg to creating the guaranteed income up front, and now we can invest. Does it work? It does. It works. This is Ben and Rita, clients of mine. They're very happy. They're some of the people that insisted that I put together this video to share with you. So a quick recap. So here's the quick recap. Number one, figure out your expenses. Number two, figure out what your guaranteed income gap is, your gig, which is straightforward. It's your expenses less the guaranteed income from Social Security and pensions. And now you're going to fill the gap. You're going to fill the gap with step three. You'll fill the gap with this annuity. So we now match our income and expenses. So what's left? The last piece, and that's the fun piece. Now we invest. We invest for growth. We invest to hedge against inflation. Maybe we have unexpected expenses or health issues in the future that we can't, maybe long-term care issues, I don't know. Obviously, we want to leave money for the kids. We want to create a legacy, and we can only do that by investing. And the freedom to invest without worrying about the stock market, if our income could go down, do we have to cut back expenses? We can invest freely, knowing that every month our income needs are met. So now you have three choices. First is you do nothing. You watch this, you say, that's great, I'm going to stick with my own plan, and that's fine. That, of course, is an option. Number two is you think, you know what, Trevor's onto something. This kind of makes sense, and you can do it yourself. The third option is DWT, get it done with Trevor, because you might want to say to yourself, I want this done quickly. I want to have professional help. I want to have someone who really understands the plan, who'll get me the very best outcome. So if you're number three, if you're the third option, I'm going to make you an offer. So what you're going to get is this. You're going to get 45 minutes of my time, complimentary, and we're going to discuss your situation and your implementation plan, how you can implement this for yourself. As a bonus, I'm going to give you a free risk analysis of your investments. So you're going to know how much you're paying in fees, what return you're getting for the risk you're taking. Next bonus is a free personalized Social Security report. If you make a bad decision when you claim your Social Security benefits, it could cost you up to $300,000 in lifetime benefits. This Social Security report will give you the optimal time for you and your partner to claim Social Security benefits. It's free. Last, another bonus is we are going to put together your free G.R.I.P.I.T plan. It's a retirement plan. It's detailed, it's comprehensive, and of course, ultimately, it's an anti-shock system. So that's what we're looking to do, is to give you your own free complimentary retirement plan, your anti-shock system. And wait, there's a special bonus. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. So what's the value of this? The value, honestly, is priceless. What does it cost? Nothing. So if you think this might be for you, you need to go to this website and book your time. Make a note of this website. You can't click on this link. You have to make a note. You have to open up another browser. It's www.calendly.com/Trevor Patching. So what else is there? I want you to just think about for 1 second, because if 45 minutes of your time finally got you a plan that works regardless of stock market performance, ask yourself, would it be worth it? 45 minutes of your time will give you peace of mind. You know that you would never run out of money. And if 45 minutes of your time gave you the freedom, think about this, the freedom to invest entirely for growth without fear, would that be worth it to you? If it would, you need to go to calendly.com/Trevor Patching. So let's just have a quick recap. If you go to that website, you book your time, you're going to get 45 minutes of my time free to discuss your situation. I'm going to give you a free bonus of an analysis of your investments, a bonus report of your Social Security options, the best way to file to maximize your lifetime benefits, and you're going to come out with a free retirement plan. This is my G.R.I.P.I.T plan, and G.R.I.P.I.T, if I haven't told you, stands for Guaranteed Retirement Income Plan and Invest Tactically. What do I mean by invest tactically? Well, this is my special bonus. My special bonus is I'm going to give you a fact sheet of one of the portfolios that is exclusive to the investment advisory company that I'm associated with. This portfolio has averaged around 30% for the last 10 years. It's averaged 30% return for the last 10 years. Now, obviously, past performance does not predict or guarantee future performance, but I'm going to share this fact sheet with you. So calendly.com/Trevor Patching. This is where you can take advantage of my free time and get these bonuses for you and your family. So if you think this is for you, act now. The offer is limited to 10 people a month. The reason it's limited to 10 people a month is the amount of time and work that I have to put in to each and every situation, because everyone's different. It means I can't do this for everyone. If you think this is for you, book now, because if you go back and watch this video again, it may not be available. So it's calendly.com/Trevor Patching. Book it now. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Take care, and we'll talk soon.